So I'm in a taxi, but I had to upload this video because it's all about how you have goals and what can you do to actually maximize achieving those goals. Check it out. Good morning, Tim Sykes here. Very important video lesson, but a little strange, a little counterintuitive. I'm just gonna warn you right now. Before I get into this, please, I'm gonna link this below the video. Please leave your questions. I have a very special student that I'm hanging out with tomorrow on Tuesday, and we are going to do a massive Q&A. We're going to try to give a live trading challenge webinar Q&A, but I'm not sure about this Wi-Fi, so that's why I'm asking for questions ahead of time. No matter what happens with the webinar attempt, we're definitely going to answer every single question that we get. I don't care how many freaking hours it takes. We're in one of the most beautiful places in the world. I'll show you the view in a little bit, but I don't care about that. I've frankly been here several times. I'm very fortunate. This is about us answering your questions so that you can get here too. It's kind of cool that my guest was just a student, just like you a few years ago, knew nothing, had made nothing. Now he studied his ass off and he's closing in on $250,000 in profits, and he just graduated college. So it's a cool thing because I'm not going to give away the surprise, but many people already know his profit chart and they know who he is. But he spoke at my annual conference last year. And his goal, he said, when he was on stage, was when he was like in the audience, was to get on stage. And then he did. And it was a pretty cool moment. He earned it. He studied his ass off and he earned it. So this is your opportunity to not just ask me questions, but ask him questions, because he is exactly where many of you are. Just starting with very little in your account, maybe even very young. And he's not that special. He's not that smart. Neither am I. I'm not saying that to put him or myself down, just to help you understand that you don't have to be a math genius. You don't have to be that smart. You just have to have the right strategy, and you have to learn the nuances. And that's why Q&As like this help. So I'll post a link to that video if you can leave comments underneath that video alone. We're only going to be checking that video. You got to learn to follow instructions too, because people are like messaging me all over the place, and I'm like, guys, I can't keep track of all these random questions. Go to this one post and leave a comment underneath. Anybody can do it. You just got to follow instructions. Now to today's lesson. I posted this. You should be following me on Twitter too. I said, never do anything just for the money alone. Instead, you must prioritize freedom first. And then I posted this picture of me in Switzerland. This was from last year, but I'm actually in the same place this summer too. And it's one of my favorite pools. This is actually a hot tub, and I'm not farting. It looks like I'm farting, but I'm really just jumping into this ridiculous hot tub with a view. And I know this is kind of like a weird thing, like, wait, what? You need money. Why wouldn't you prioritize money? Anybody has freedom, like homeless people have freedom. But go with me on this. Here's some of the responses. And this guy, Dr. Sam, says, freedom requires money, so shouldn't money be a higher priority than freedom? Like I said, freedom does not require money. Like literally you could be homeless and you could have endless freedom all the time. It's not a very good life. I know, many students who are homeless or have been homeless, and it's not fun. So I said, where is my response? Well, I guess I'll just tell you. I don't mean total freedom, like being homeless and having no responsibilities. I'm saying, what can you do? Like, how do you picture your life where, you have the dream life that you always want? Maybe freedom isn't even the right word. You must prioritize your dream life first. But I think I said freedom because I know a lot of people, their dream life is just to make a lot of money. And the reason why I'm saying freedom or dreams over just money alone is because I know a lot of rich people too who are miserable, and it's crazy. So if you have homeless people who are miserable because they have nothing, and it's scary and dangerous, and then you have rich people who have literally everything, and they're not necessarily scared or in danger, they're just bored. They're kind of shocked that they went for the money, they got the money, and they're still not happy. I can't tell you how many rich people I know who are like this, and it blows my mind because they won't talk about it publicly. Because I know our whole society values being rich and wealthy above pretty much anything. Um, it's not just about money. Money is nice because it allows you to do what you want. And if you focus on doing what you want from the start, you'll be better off. And I know this because trust me, I didn't know this in the beginning of my journey. I always wanted to be rich. That was my goal. I went for the money. And for several years, I wasn't very happy. I was still trading. I was doing my job. Like I'll do my job because I respect, what trading has given me. And now I respect what students have given me. So I have dual jobs of trading and teaching. But aside from just making money, I was not very happy, even traveling. This was 2003, 2004, 2005. My hedge fund was small, but I was already a millionaire. I was looking to get bigger, but again, I was just, there was something missing. There was like literally a chip missing in my head, and I was just confused because I was like, but I made millions. Why am I not happy? And it was because I didn't really have a purpose. I was just kind of, wandering through life with, whatever I could, but not really understanding what went wrong. And I know this is like oh, poor millionaire, it's so sad. I know that it sounds bad, but I want you to get rich, but I don't want you to be in that position. And that's part of the reason why I talk so much openly and transparently and consistently about my charity, because that really completed the circle. Yeah, I still get to enjoy beautiful views and hot tubs like this. But not only do I go to this beautiful hotel, this is Villa Honegg in Switzerland, by the way, if you want to put it on your vision board. Fantastic place. Even after I was rich, they still don't have reservations all the time. So I had to kind of work for my reservation and to get this suite with the view in the pool. So I need you to focus on what do you want in your life. Like, let's say you have all the money in the world, you get to choose your life. Because a lot of people have all the money in the world and they don't have the life they choose because they just did whatever they could to get the money. And now they have bad relationships, people in their life who are not good people, businesses where they're not proud of, where, they might be making money, but they're like, I hate my job still. A lot of people hate their job and they don't have money, but I know rich people who have money and they still hate their job. And they just keep doing it because, at least they're succeeding in their initial goal and they don't want to feel like a total failure, but there's still something missing. I've had some really in-depth talks with some millionaires, even some billionaires. It's pretty crazy who I've met over the years. And I know several miserable billionaires. And it blows people's mind. Like, what? You make $1 billion and you're still not happy? Because life is not all about money. When I go to hotels like this, I don't just go there to relax now. Now I'm meeting with the locals. We have different schools, different orphanages, medical centers, different projects, animal charities that we're working with. So now I've taken my charity, not just money alone too. Now it's like I get to meet people that I never would have. I get to go to like their homes, we're friends, we're basically borderline family with so many people all over the world because we're taking an interest. When I say I say my Karmagawa team and I, because it's not just the Timothy Sykes Foundation anymore. It's Karmagawa. We changed the name so that it's not just about me. It's not just a one-man band. So when I travel to these places, I never just get one room. I know that you see me alone and all these things. Some people are like, Tim, but you're so rich and you're always alone. No, don't mistake my lonely pictures and videos for loneliness. I just don't want to necessarily share all the people in my life anymore because sadly, this is social media and, they just didn't sign on for that. I did. I don't mind it. But I'm never alone and I'm very fulfilled because I've found kind of my destiny. And I changed from prioritizing just money alone to giving back. Karmagawa does not make any money. I spend an inordinate amount of time on it. And if I probably just focused on things that would just make me money, I could probably be richer, but I wouldn't necessarily be happier. And this is where the difference comes in. A lot of people just do what they can to make a lot of money, and they keep trying to make money and keep trying to make money all their lives. I have a lot of companies, but I spend a lot of time on things that don't make me money, but they make me happy. And this confuses some rich people. I've actually had this conversation with billionaires before, and they're like, but you could do better. Why are you trading with such a small account? Like, why not trade with a big account? You'll probably get more students, like you'll make millions of dollars a year from trading. You're going to donate that money to charity. I donate all my trading profits to charity. Why not trade with a bigger account? Why not, stop working on the charity, just hand that off to somebody else. They can figure out, which charities are best to donate to and which causes are best to. And you can focus on the market and your students more. You'll get richer. You'll have, more students. But again, for me, it's not just about money. I think I've evolved or matured or just realized what makes me happy. And frankly, I'm fine having just a few $1,000,000 in my bank account. I'm very happy to give a ridiculous amount to charity. I've personally donated over $4 million of my own money to charity in just the past few years. And my accountant thinks I'm crazy, and a lot of people think I'm crazy. But again, it's not about what other people think. It's not about necessarily what your accountant thinks. In terms of happiness, you should listen to your accountant. Everybody should have an accountant when it comes to paying taxes and like legal stuff, like listen to them. But for me, I know the life that I want, and I prioritize freedom. Like, I probably shouldn't be traveling all over the world. If I just had an office, I could just give webinars from one thing. Like my screen would always be crystal clear. Everything would be better in terms of trading and teaching, but I wouldn't be happy. And, you guys, I know you're like, well, Tim, you should prioritize your students. Forget your happiness. You want me to be happy because I am a better teacher when I'm happy. I'm not yelling as much. If you've been a student for several years, you can attest I used to yell a lot before I kind of recognized exactly what I want my life to look like. And while, some of my webinars might be a little fuzzier, it's good for me to show you that you can do this from anywhere in the world. It's actually pretty cool that the student who I'm going to be trading with and talking with tomorrow, he got into this because he saw me trading from all over the world. In fact, a lot of my students, my most dedicated students, see me trading from all these places. And that's the kind of life that they want, where you can make a little money on subpar setups. That said, you don't have to travel. There are some people who like just, staying in one town or city all their lives. And that's fine too. You get to choose. And it's important for me to show you that freedom first kind of idea. You have to choose the life that you want. And for me, it's not just how much money I can make from trading and how many students can I teach. I prefer quality over quantity. If I had 100,000 students and I'm, posting big screenshots, but none of the students are really learning to grow their small account first, and in fact, they're learning the wrong lessons from trading with a big account and partaking in risky strategies that can blow you up in the beginning, that I would not be happy. I would be richer. I would have more students. I would have more, people would be like, oh, okay, so he just wants, the biggest trading profits to donate the most to charity, and he wants the most students. Makes sense. There's a difference between the most students and the best students. There's a difference between the most profits and the best profits. And there's a difference between, just being a slave to your job or, having the job control you versus you choosing the job and you controlling the job. They're very small subtleties. And some people are like, what are you talking about, you delusional rich person? Because a lot of, people who want to get rich just think this is very simple. Trust me, I was a philosophy major. I've thought about this a lot. I've now been teaching for 10 plus years. I've thought about my students a lot. And it's quality over quantity. It's not just about how much money you have in the bank. It's not just how many subscribers you have. It's not just about, how much money you've donated to charity. It's quality over quantity. I'm proud to have a lot of dedicated students. I'm proud to have a few million in the bank. I'm proud to have donated a few million to charity. But if you've been watching my, charity documentaries and following my charity social media accounts, you know that it's not just about money. It's about how do we get everyone involved. And if you've been my student for a while, you know it's not just about how do you make the biggest trading profits. It's how do you learn the correct process that will serve you well in a risk-adjusted manner when you have a small account at first, ideally, and then theoretically you size up later on as you get more confidence, as you get more experience. So I know that it's not fun. I know that people just want to make the most right now, but I have to educate you because I wish someone had told me this. I wish someone had taught me this way in the beginning. And that's why I love teaching, because no one else is teaching this stuff. Nobody. Every single other, quote, teacher, especially the newbies, they just go for the most. And they're like, Sykes is just making excuses. I'm not making excuses. I've just been around the game longer than pretty much anybody else on social media. Not in terms of being on social media the longest, but being, in the trading world the longest and now being, a teacher for over 10 years. The lessons that you think are so obvious are traps. Okay. If you try to just make the most money, whether it's Bitcoin or selling drugs or illegal arms or, buying some pump and dump or maybe even doing a pump and dump yourself, like there's a lot of sketchy ways that you can make a lot of money. It's not going to result in a life of happiness. It's not going to result in lasting wealth either. I can't tell you how many Bitcoin people are like, screw penny stocks, Bitcoin is going to 1 million, and then it dropped 80%. I'm glad that it's come back a little bit just to, keep them from committing suicide because it hasn't hit 1 million yet. It's hanging around 11,000. But when it was like at 16, 17, 18, 19, 20,000, they thought that they were changing the world. They thought that Bitcoin was going to go literally to 1 million, if not 10 million. And they thought that the rules and patterns and the law of, a lot of mathematical laws didn't apply to them. And they do. Maybe Bitcoin is the future. Maybe it does go up to 1 million eventually, but it's not going to happen right away. And you need to kind of study history. And the more that you study history, the better adjusted you're going to be. And the more opportunities you'll take, and the better you can kind of choose your own life. So again, the stock market works for you. I know a lot of people where they give me shit where they're like, Tim, you're just trading from beach. You just trade from and I'm like, yeah. So, and they're kind of angry that I don't, work every day from like 8 a.m. till 5 p.m. like a lot of these dedicated quote traders do. But I hate to rub it in and bring it up, but if you're working 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. every day, what's the fucking point? Like you just have a normal job and trading isn't even guaranteed income and it's just more stressful. So why would you want that? I don't know. Some people do want that. Okay. Some people love the game. Some people do like, treating this like an Olympic sport and they go to bed early and they don't drink and they have to be physically fit. Like for me, trading is like, look, when there's a good play, when there's a good opportunity, I try to partake and I try to get richer and I try to grow my account. And when there's not a good play, I get to go out and live my fucking dream life. And I get to live my fucking dream life because I've utilized the situations when there are good opportunities to have enough money, to have enough patience, to not have to force trades. Most people don't have that luxury. Most people don't have the savings that I do. They don't have the experience that I do. So they're forcing trades every day, whether for themselves or for their subscribers. Like I know a lot of newbies teaching and they're like, pick. Or maybe they're partnering with some broker. And so they actually get some money on the back end every time you make a trade. So there's chat rooms, pick. That's not the secret to long-term wealth. Okay. I want you to become my next millionaire student. I want you to be my next happy millionaire student. I think that's probably even a better term that I'm going to start to introduce, where I know you want to just focus on the money, but what happens if and when you succeed? Because more and more of my students are making 6 and 7 figures. So before it was just like, can anybody even do this? But now that people have been able to do it, it's like, okay, how do we do it the right way? And how do I mentally prepare them? Because the cool thing is, if you talk to any of my 5 millionaire students and a lot of my upcoming 6-figure students, they really have the right mindset. Like, I'm very, very proud of the money that they made, but I'm proud of their self-sufficiency. I'm proud of their knowledge and their wisdom, and it's really cool. And I'm proud of myself. I feel like I guided them the right way. I don't have any millionaire student where they made a lot of money and they're like just blowing it. They made a lot of money in a few years, yes, by taking advantage of key opportunities and key patterns, but at the same time they recognize I think they have a really good, heads on their shoulders, especially Tim Grittani, who's over $8 million in profits, moving to the Caribbean with his wife, just had a baby, still making, $1 million plus this year, even while having a baby, which is a lot of time, I can imagine. So I want you to start to think a little bit more about what you want in life rather than just money. If you just go after money alone, you're not going to live a happy life. And you might make a lot, but then you're going to be very confused. And then I've seen a lot of millionaires and billionaires with some very nasty habits to try to cope with their disappointment of, they went after their dreams, they achieved their dreams, but there's something missing. And I don't want that to happen to you. So it's better if you learn in the beginning what you want out of this. Obviously, yes, making money allows you the freedom to do what you want, but then what are you going to do with that freedom? Or are you even going to have that freedom, depending on how you make a lot of money? So I know, again, this is a very philosophical video lesson, but it's important. I need you to think outside the box. I need you to think counterintuitively. Otherwise, it's going to catch up to you. And after a few years of going down the wrong path or a decade of going down the wrong path, it's very difficult to turn back. I'm pretty adaptable, so that's why even after a few years of me not being the happiest when I had a lot of money, I was trying new things and I came upon, teaching, and I came upon charity, and now I truly have all the pieces of the puzzle, and I'm loving life, and that makes me a better trader, it makes me a better teacher, it makes me a better human. It's all about optimizing everything you do and trying to make it the best life possible, because you and we only have one life. So we have to make this the absolute best life possible. And I think it's very, very, very good for you to spend some time. Like, this is going to be like a 25-minute video lesson. And some people are like, Tim, just say what you want and then go on. It's very good to overthink this stuff. Just like it's very good to over-prepare for the stock market. I get some messages from people who are like, come on, Tim, like it's the same freaking lessons. I don't have to watch all your videos. I don't have to watch all the DVDs and webinars. Yes, you do. Over-prepare. You have to, remember 90% of traders lose, and it's due to lack of preparation. So if you figure, I don't know the exact percentage of people versus happy versus unhappy, but I guarantee you it's not what you think even when it's rich people. Like if you don't have money and you think, okay, what percent of rich people are happy? It's probably like 90 or 80%. That would be your assumption, right? I would venture to say it's probably, maybe 60-40 or even 50-50. And that blows people's minds, poor millionaire, poor billionaire, but it's just because they went after it the wrong way. They structured their life the wrong way, and now they're stuck. I'll tell you, if you don't have millions or billions, what percent of people are happy? I'm sure it's like 10% or 5% because they're working for shitty jobs and shitty bosses, and they're, just having to live their life every day, full of responsibility for their families, for themselves, for bills. And a lot of people are just living paycheck to paycheck, month to month. That's no way to live. So I want you to live your best life even after you get rich. So prioritize freedom, think about what your dream life will look like, and overthink about it, and be open to changing what that dream life will be. When I did prioritize money, I got my exotic cars, I had the big mansions. I even bought, a nice place down in Miami for my parents, and I moved them down from Connecticut. And that, to this day, is one of my best purchases. I spent roughly $750,000 for a place just a few blocks away from the beach in Miami Beach, and my parents live there, and they're so happy. So taking care of yourself, taking care of your loved ones. But I'll tell you, when I got all these exotic cars, I was so thrilled in the beginning, but the rush fades, and it's not lasting. And just like a lot of rich people, where they get rich, they can have all the toys they want, they can have the big mansions, they can have all this stuff. Like, it doesn't necessarily make you happy. Some people love their exotic cars and they're exactly where they want to be. But just don't be confused if and when you succeed and you achieve all your money goals or luxury goals or taking care of your friends, your loved ones, or yourself. You're still going to be missing something. And I'm not saying you have to get into charity or teaching or travel the world like I do. That's just me. These are my obsessions. And frankly, I've just gone and done what makes me happiest. And you have to choose that for you. So when I show you visuals like this, I'm just giving you an option. I'm not saying that you actually have to go to Villa Honig in Switzerland and go into this hot tub with a view. For me, I love this stuff, and I love working with nearby charities. We actually have a cool upcoming charity in Switzerland that we're talking with. I can't mention them just yet because we have a lot of NDAs that we sign. But I'm talking with a lot of these charities and trying to help the locals. And that's my dream. That doesn't have to be your dream. We are all different, and that's okay. But I post stuff hopefully to inspire you, to show you what freedom looks like, because a lot of rich people won't do it. They're afraid of looking like douchebags. I've been on so many reality shows. I mean, I'm probably one of the most well-known douchebags in all of social media. And I didn't help myself with the way that I used to post. But again, it was a means to an end. I saw that, my exotic cars and exotic travel inspired students to study harder. So I was like, screw it. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to get my students studying harder. My last 2 millionaire students only found me because they liked my Lamborghini on Instagram. So a lot of people say, oh, Tim, you shouldn't sell the dream. I fucking sell the dream, and I'm fucking living the dream. But also my dreams have changed over time, and they've adapted. And I want you to think about this now, maybe even before you make a lot of money. Just write down on a piece of paper like what your dream life would look like. And I encourage you not to just say, well, if I had $1 billion, I would, just cure world hunger. I would own a big mansion. Like, I've lived in big mansions. I've lived in penthouses. I've lived in villas. The mansions look good, but they're actually not that much fun. There's always something going wrong with them. There's a lot of maintenance and upkeep, and especially if you like to travel like me, a mansion is no longer the best option. And you don't know that. I've been on a lot of private jets. I don't own a private jet. I just charter them. But there's a lot of problems with private jets. And the same thing with exotic cars. My first Lamborghini got keyed like 4 times. And then you have to put it in special spots, and the parking is like $100 each time. And then you have to have there's just a lot of things that no one really talks about. They're little things. I mean, I'm grateful for all of the money and all the luxury and all the opportunity. But at the same time, it's just not necessarily what I want in life. I'd rather donate millions than have a fleet of 50 exotic cars. That's just me. If you want a fleet of 50 exotic cars, by all means, go out and get it and then see how you feel. And then you can always sell it. Although the depreciation with, boats, cars, houses can be a lot. Anyways, this video is actually now going to be 30 minutes. I just want you to really think about everything in depth before you risk your hard-earned money on a trade, before you go about setting up, the life that you think that you want. Really go into it and look at who you are and what you personally like, rather than just, what society wants for you, or what your parents want for you, or what anybody else wants for you. The beautiful thing is we are all individuals, and we get to choose our lives. Obviously, making a lot of money helps. So definitely do what you can to make a lot of money, but do it in the right way. Earn that money. Don't even try to win the lotto. Don't even play the lotto, because the odds suck. And if you make money that way, trust me, you're going to have psychological problems galore, like a lot of lotto winners. Or, if you're an athlete and you make too much money really quickly, it goes to your head. Or if you're like a childhood star or a musician, I mean, it's crazy if you make money the wrong way. And if it comes too easy, you don't really appreciate it. You don't really, you're not really going to be happy most of the time, at least. So I just want you to be really happy, and I want you to have the best life possible. So spend extra time, waste time thinking about this. It will pay so many more dividends later on if and when you're very successful, because you'll have kind of been very introspective, hopefully, at the beginning, in the middle, and throughout your entire journey. It really helps.
Hey, Tim Sykes, Millionaire Mentor and Trader. Thank you for watching my videos. I hope that they help you. I want to share everything that I've learned over the years. You can check out more videos right over there. And also click subscribe so that you can watch all of these videos, get that knowledge, and become my next millionaire student.